Hello. Sheraz Ahmed here, presenting to you another bite-sized episode of the Crypto Valley Association podcast. Let's discover together the growing trends of this fast-moving space and try to shed some light on the mysteries it contains. We are joined by Chris Thomas, Head of Digital Assets at Swissquote, Switzerland's leading online bank that enabled private clients as early as in July 2017 to invest in cryptocurrencies. So let's dive straight into the hidden world of trading. Chris, thank you for joining us. How have you been?
Sheraz, pleasure to see you again. I've been very well, and I'm really happy to see the sun is shining yet again this week.
Well, maybe let's start this whole thing off by getting to know you a little bit. So what first got you involved within this blockchain crypto space?
Perfect. Well, initially, a long time ago, I was a trader in London in some of the investment banks and one or two of the hedge funds, and that got me really excited in trading. However, after that, in 2014, January 2014, I started getting excited about Bitcoin, and I opened a Mt. Gox account. Luckily, though, a few weeks later, I didn't put any money in, and it crashed. So saved myself in that one, but I started to learn more and more about Bitcoin at that point. I just monitored over the next year or two. 2015, I started doing daily thoughts with one of my friends who at the time was the co-founder of Lika, or what was going to become Lika, based in Zurich. And 2016, I was involved in blockchain projects with Royal Bank of Scotland Innovation Team in London. And that's actually when I first bought my first Ethereum tokens. So yeah, I've been around for a while. I've seen the changes, and it's been quite an exciting one. And we're only still at the start.
Only still at the start, indeed. And so earlier this year, you joined Swissquote. Would you like to tell us a little bit more about them and their role within the growing industry?
Absolutely, yeah. So the basics about Swissquote: 24-year-old, fully regulated Swiss bank. We've got over 3 million products on the platform. And in terms of retail crypto, we've been involved for over 3 years. The guys took the initiative to launch in early 2017. And so for the big run up in 2017, we did very well. We had 5 currencies on the platform at that point. And since then, we've developed out to 12 currencies, and the trading has scaled quite significantly over that period. So that's really good. In terms of other things that we do, we've had custody for Bitcoin, Ethereum, for over 2 years now. One of our biggest clients, which is public information, is WisdomTree. We've also got a lot of other institutional clients who we're talking to and who use our facility. In terms of other cryptocurrency offerings, we've got AMCs, actively managed certificates. We've had these up for 2 years as well. So very briefly, AMCs, actively managed certificates, are on balance sheet, whereas ETFs, exchange traded funds, are off balance sheet. That's the only difference, or the main difference between the two. Our first Bitcoin AMC is actually expiring now after 2 years, and it has had lower volatility but greater return than the Bitcoin underlying. So that proves that Swissquote were able to model a very good AMC 2 years ago, and hopefully the next one will be equally, if not even more better going forward. Institutionally wise, we're launching our APIs in the next week or so, and we've been talking to loads of really cool, fun companies who are going to come on board and use the APIs for institutional trading.
Hey, well, that's great to hear. I mean, we see Swissquote everywhere. I recently just took a flight from Geneva, and you see the big Swissquote, and you see your slogan, "Straight to the coin." Would you like to further explain to our audience the meaning of this?
Absolutely. Recently, we did quite a large cryptocurrencies campaign through Switzerland. So that's why there were key spots around, particularly around Geneva Airport, Zug, and others in Zurich. Straight to the coin is one of our marketing campaign slogans. These campaigns were devised towards millennials, and the idea around it is to demonstrate that we're different. Yes, we are a Swiss bank. Yes, we're regulated, we're safe and trusted. Yet we don't act like a bank. We're essentially a tech company, and we want people to realize that we offer something better. We offer something better than the current exchanges out there, but we're as safe as the most safe banks you're ever going to see. So that's the idea behind these slogans and trying to drive people into our ecosystem.
That's an interesting point. I mean, I definitely believe that the millennials and the younger generation are full in on crypto, and I can see them really driving that forward. I mean, even some friends of mine were saying, like, why would I want gold when I can buy digital gold like Bitcoin, right? So it's a great way to do it. Have you seen any of this momentum gathering in the past years between different age groups? Have you seen kind of a rise in the younger generations?
Absolutely. And it depends on a combination of things. It depends on what countries we are targeting. It depends on the type of marketing style that we take towards either the existing users of the platform, or we try and drive in new users. So there's so many variables involved. But yeah, we do have quite a decent millennial audience, obviously in the retail side. And I speak to quite a lot of people who are at the top edge of millennials onwards in the institutional space.
Okay, great. And you mentioned before that Swissquote currently offers 12 cryptocurrencies, and that's probably out of around, last time I checked, there were like around 6,000 out there. Is there a reason why you specifically chose these 12? Is there a selection process choosing these? What are the thoughts there?
Yeah, so back when the guys had the foresight to launch the crypto products, they launched, so 3.5-4 years ago, launched with Bitcoin, Ethereum, Litecoin, XRP, Ripple, and Bitcoin Cash. The reason they did that was quite simply, it was around the volumes. So volume is one of our most important factors, as well as the actual quality of the coin. For example, privacy coins, they're really not suited to regulated institutions, so we absolutely avoid them. Likewise, stable coins cause similar type of problems, so we avoid them. And more recently, just before I joined actually, we brought on Chainlink, Ethereum Classic, EOS, OX, Stellar, Augur, and Tezos. And I think the guys had a bit of foresight looking at them. 4 of them come from the DeFi space or have DeFi elements and staking elements. So that's part of the thought process as well. We, as a bank, where we make our money on the volatility, and we need enough volume in each currency for people to be able to execute into at good pricing, it's important that we select the biggest volume ones, the most interesting ones, but also sometimes something just slightly different. And to think that the guys 9 months ago selected companies like Chainlink, I think that also reflects in the quality of product management and technical ability within Swissquote. For these guys who, they've been trading cryptos on their own for years and years as well. So we've got a very strong infrastructure, and that has proven to demonstrate that we are able to have the foresight to bring these good quality coins in. And we're obviously talking to other people about bringing on new coins in the future. That's obviously part of how we build out our offering.
Yeah, that was actually exactly the question I was going to ask you. Like, are there any coins or tokens coming to the Swissquote platform? So are there any thoughts behind that, upping the 12 maybe to 15 within another specific niche?
Yep, so I would think that's realistic for Q1 2021. We've got a lot of projects at the moment. We're bringing the API live in the next weeks. We've been crazily going through that over the last several months. So that's one of my priorities on the institutional side. So in terms of new currency pairs, we have to dig deep to understand and make sure it's a real genuine project or a genuine currency, and to make sure the volume and the interest for our particular demographic of clients is there, so that we're providing them with the best and most fun opportunities. But at the same time, we're going to see the revenues as a result of doing that.
Okay, no, definitely. And you mentioned the API. Once again, is there something you'd like to share about that? It seems quite an interesting one.
Absolutely. So the API, the institutional API, allows hedge funds, family offices, asset managers, small, medium-sized banks, all these type of people to connect indirectly into Swissquote's pricing or our liquidity, instead of having to log on to the retail platform like you or I would. So it allows for faster trading, so we can have high frequency trading in there, and is a far cleaner process for them. So we're bringing fix and WebSockets APIs live, and that will certainly help us with driving a lot of volume, particularly amongst Bitcoin and Ethereum.
Okay, wow. That's great to hear. Another great product there. And so I actually saw a headline on CoinDesk back in 2019, quite a long time ago, now that said that Swissquote was launching a nuke-proof custody solution. So would you like to tell us a little bit more about that, how that worked out?
So we've had institutional custody for about 2 years now.
Okay.
It's public information that we've got WisdomTree is one of our larger institutional clients. We have quite a number of various institutional clients, and it's been an exciting project that the guys have been on long before I came, and it's an ongoing project as well, because we're always looking to do better, and we're always looking to position it to make sure that we can offer our institutional clients what we want, or what they want, sorry. So on the institutional side, we've worked extensively on the security aspects to go through certain processes that don't just meet the sort of the crypto hardware sort of style of storage or cold storage, but it's more about how we meet the traditional investment banking style, what processes we need to put in place for our customers to be comfortable, because these processes are the types of processes they would have in reality in the fiat world. So we've worked extensively with our clients to do that. We're very happy with it. Yes, it's taken us a lot of time to do, but it's certainly a big value add, and certainly makes us stand above the rest.
Yeah, well, that's great to hear. And yeah, I agree. I mean, working closely with your clients is the best way to keep them happy and to grow sustainably forward. Well, that's awesome to hear. And so, along with your role at Swissquote, you're recently elected as a board member of the Crypto Valley Association. Congratulations.
Thank you very much. And it's great to be involved in the CVA. I'm sure most people on the podcast actually know what the CVA is, but for us to be at the heart of the Swiss blockchain crypto ecosystem, it's great to be involved and to meet so many interesting projects who are participants, who are either members or they're involved in the Swiss ecosystem in some way, or even there's obviously been a lot of hard work over the last several months due to the COVID that we've done a lot. I know yourself and previously Jerome did a lot of work on webinars, and it's great to see that has attracted such a global audience. And Crypto Valley has evolved over the last 3 years from not just being the Zurich and Zug ecosystem, but to expanding across Switzerland, and now to be expanding globally is really something impressive. And for us to have one of the biggest names in the whole ecosystem, like the global ecosystem, is great to be involved with. There's a lot of hard work done by all of the members and the board members, the chairs of the working groups, and people like yourself. And there's obviously, we're doing very well, and the future is looking very positive for us, all of us.
Very, very happy to hear your perspective on that now. And I couldn't agree more. It's definitely a great bunch of people that are around us. So no, thank you for that, and yeah, welcome on board once again. And maybe as a whole then, so where do you see the future of the blockchain space, maybe specifically to trading in this perspective?
Yeah, so the future of trading, there's a few themes emerging. One of them's around the democratization of finance, where we're opening up the world to the unbanked and the underbanked. Previously, there have been fintech projects built. They tend to use the traditional financial markets or traditional banking rails as in the infrastructure for traditional banks. So the challenger banks that exist today have been building on traditional systems. But now we're starting to see blockchain-based systems put in place and allowing effectively the removal of many middle and back office functions, obviously allowing the super quick settlement times, the transparency, and obviously reducing operating costs. So this is all really positive stuff on the blockchain side. On the institutional side, I think we're slowly moving towards something that resembles what today's traditional financial markets ecosystem looks like, i.e. we are in futures and options on the crypto, more so on the Bitcoin side. Ethereum's taking off, but yet Bitcoin is still 99% front month only. We need to be able to offer the 3, 4, 6 months further out the curve. There needs to be more liquidity in there. The institutions are absolutely coming into that space through the Chicago Mercantile Exchange offerings. We'll see more prime brokerage being created, which then allows a lot more institutional lending and more creativity. That will tie into the staking that already exists. So we're taking what we've got just now, taking it up a notch, and we're adding a lot more institutional involvement. And that's because the institutional structures are now there, and the institutions are certainly getting more comfortable with it. So I think over the next 2 to 4 years, these futures and options curves and the full prime brokerage model will be quite solid. And then on top of that, you add the tokenization of many new products. And we're seeing lots of experiments, obviously, around real estate and artwork, fine wines, sports cars, all of these things. Some of them are good. Some of them are fun entrepreneurial projects. Some shouldn't really have a tokenization element. But as that space develops a bit further as well, and as it builds out beyond those products, we're going to see tokenized crypto offerings that are significantly larger than what we know of the traditional financial markets today. And that will allow everyone to start participating in the markets in very small sizes, in sizes that they're comfortable with, and they'll have direct access to almost anything they want. And if someone wants to buy a quarter of an Amazon share even, they'll be able to buy a quarter of an Amazon share. If they want to buy $5,000 of their neighbor's property, or if they want to start trading their neighbor's electricity, all of these things will be possible in the future. So I think all of this trading is really exciting, but we've still got to remember I guess we're coming to the end of the early stage, and we've still not got to the point where the majority of people in the world will use anything related to crypto.
Yeah, no, it's an interesting one. Tokenization definitely has its part to play in that. I mean, I only hope that tokenized wine tastes as good as normal wine. But no, it's a very interesting one to talk about. And are there maybe any other use cases that have piqued your mind in the past couple of months, years, that you see that are going to be pushing the space further than tokenization? I mean, there's the supply side part. There's also companies working in the legal sphere. Are there any others that you've seen that come up?
Yeah, I think on the tokenization front, probably the most relevant use case that we've seen on the secondary market, or that would be applicable to the secondary market, is the commodities trading, because they've already got a traditional supply-demand curve. They're already comfortable with trading. So if you add the tokenization on top of that, market makers in traditional commodity markets can then get their head around it, and they can start trading between the tokenized shares of the commodity products, the traditional physical commodity products. So that's quite interesting. The other one is around the DeFi space, which is currently extremely hot and has been since the end of May. We're currently looking a lot around the DeFi yield farming, and there's some crazy people who are making genuinely a lot of money doing so. But at the same time, there's a high risk if you get it wrong, where they have to end up processing 3, 4, 5 different steps as quickly as possible and taking yield, i.e. profit, out of certain DeFi, decentralized finance transactions. So this DeFi yield farming is quite a theme, but it's really only for some experts at the moment. I think that will settle down. The risk will be reduced eventually, probably not until maybe next year. That obviously means lower yield, lower reward for that, but that will also be quite an interesting space, and that ties in a lot with the staking. But I would say, I think in closing, I would say it's very worthwhile people getting on there and playing about with some cryptos and experimenting with the DeFi world in very small size, obviously, because when you get your hands dirty and you transact and you see the transactions moving from one wallet to another, it starts allowing you to join the dots. And I think it's very important for people to understand that just now. And then if we fast forward 5 years, I think many of these things will be absolutely normal, but we'll have really easy to use, user-centric retail GUIs, as in like the platforms that exist today. They'll be comfortable for even your mum and dad to be able to transact on, and they'll not understand, they'll not realize, they'll not need to know that the blockchain is in behind it.
Yes.
We're moving at some speed. We've got a lot more still to go. But if we think back 20 years ago, Facebook, Google, Amazon, some of them didn't even exist. Some of them were tiny experiments. And you fast forward like the last 10 years, all of these have been completely normal. So over the next 3, 4, 5 years, crypto is going to come into many people's lives, hopefully all in a good way. And obviously blockchain too, Internet of Things. There's so many use cases out there that we could explore.
Yeah, practically without them even knowing it, right? I always tend to try and use the example of contactless payments, right? I mean, nobody really knows how that works, but it just happened one day and people are like, oh, wow, I can pay with my card, like by contactless. That's great. It's super fun, but nobody's actually like, oh, wow, the technology behind that is interesting. So no, I definitely agree with you on that.
Yeah, and I think the other thing that I trust some of these companies for trading on, yes and no, but some of these exchanges you've got to think twice about transacting on, and that's, I think, just a quick plug at the end, but that's where it's Swissquote is different because we are a fully regulated Swiss bank. There's that safe, secure, trusted aspect to trading within our ecosystem, and that is something that people have to bear in mind as well when they go about doing their business in this ecosystem. Very briefly, I mean, I know that I had to go redo the process recently on one of the exchanges, and luckily it's a centralized exchange, so I could go through the security process to get my authenticator key reassigned, and so I could get access again. And that's fine on a centralized exchange such as Swissquote. But if that was a decentralized platform, I would have had to be fully in control of it myself. I wouldn't have been able to recover my keys, and hence all of the tokens on that platform would have been lost, unfortunately. So yes, DeFi and so on, it's great, but we've still got to bear in mind, how do you hold your keys? Are you comfortable holding your keys? And then, how can we take those really cool DeFi concepts, but still make sure that we're going to be safe if we do somehow lose our keys or whatever, and how can we recover our file in a safe way that nobody else can steal our stuff? So lots of thinking still to do, but hugely positive the way we're moving forward.
No, I agree. Yeah, with great power comes great responsibility, right? So being able to find the equilibrium between the two is quite important. But thank you so much, Chris, for those valuable insights. I think it'll be very, very helpful to our audience. And maybe to close off, do you have anything else you'd like to add or share with everyone today?
Nothing at that point, but if anyone wants to get hold of me, please feel free to contact me directly at Swissquote, christopher.thomas@swissquote.com, or feel free to connect with me on LinkedIn. I'm sure people will be able to find me. And also, if they want any advice around Crypto Valley Association to become a member, please also reach out and contact me.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for that. Hopefully, we were able to shed some light on the hidden world of trading. And well, if you enjoyed this conversation, feel free to check out more on our website, cryptovalley.swiss, where we host plenty of events, educational content, and even provide information on how you can join our growing community. Well, thanks again, Chris, for joining us today. And well, stay tuned, stay safe, and until next time from the Crypto Valley in Switzerland. Bye-bye.